What's up guys, today I explain you Jujutsu Kaisen, how Gojo could have gotten even stronger, explain. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe this channel. Now have fun with the video.
Gojo Satoru is one of the most important characters in the JJK series. It is safe to say that Gojo is the face of the entire franchise and has been for many years. It is precisely because of that the fans were absolutely devastated when he ended up dying in JJK chapter 136. At the end of this chapter, the character who ended up losing his life was none other than Gojo Satoru. It is truly unfortunate that Gojo ended up dying the way he did. While the event itself is sad for the fans, it is also doubly tragic for Gojo himself. Fans know that he was very strong and was deemed to be the strongest modern sorcerer. However, Gojo could easily have gotten even stronger in the future and possibly surpassed whoever posed a challenge to him. Gojo's peak in Jujutsu Kaisen was absolutely incredible, and his battle against Sukuna shows fans a glimpse of that. Undoubtedly, this fight remains to be the very best fight in the entirety of JJK. By this point in the story, Gojo was incredibly powerful. He had already attained the title of the strongest modern sorcerer and was someone worthy of rivaling Sukuna. Right from the get-go, their battle was incredibly exciting for the fans to witness, and it was established by the author himself that these two were largely even. Gojo could do just about everything that Sukuna could. His control over his cursed energy was shown to be immense, and in general, his fighting style was incredibly intuitive. If that is all, Gojo showed his incredible intellect when he decided to learn all the secret techniques of the Gojo family by himself. Gojo excelled at just about everything he set his mind to, something that Gij confirmed himself. As for his peak, fans know that Gojo had access to some of the most incredible powers, such as the limitless cursed technique, and with it, the Six Eyes as well. These two combined to give Gojo an incredible advantage over the vast majority of his enemies in the series. But Gojo isn't simply a product of just these two abilities. Gojo could also use the power of reverse cursed technique, and with this power, heal himself. He could also utilize his ability to reset the burnt-out cursed technique, and then, essentially utilize his cursed technique as many times as he wanted. At the peak of his powers, Gojo was strong enough to rival Sukuna. When these two characters fought, they were neck and neck right from the beginning to the end. However, in the end, Sukuna won the battle due to the Ten Shadows technique, and his victory was essential if Yuji was to grow as well. If Gojo hadn't died the way he did, fans would most definitely not have seen Yuji grow as he did, and his potential would have stagnated, as was the case with Megumi and Nobara. As far as Gojo himself is concerned, the version of him that fans saw fight Sukuna carried the most experience, skill, and just about everything else in the story. It is unfortunate that he ended up losing his life, because had he survived, the skills he would have attained would have made him look infinitely cooler. One of the ways in which Gojo could have gained even further strength is to brush up on things that he already knows. For instance, Gojo was a very good user of reverse cursed technique. In fact, he might even be the best user of RCT that fans have seen in JJK, yet he is limited in what he can do. Gojo did not know how to heal others with reverse cursed technique. It is entirely possible that with time, Gojo could have learned this aspect of his power as well, and then, moving forward, could have saved other lives too. He could have easily learned this if he put his mind to it, but because he always fought in a 1 versus 1 situation, along with the fact that his learning reverse cursed technique to heal others would simply render Shoko useless, made him not utilize this power. It must also be remembered that Sukuna continued to grow throughout Shinjuku Showdown. Similarly, Gojo experienced something similar once he hit multiple black flashes and created an RCT circuit. Had Gojo continued to fight, he could most likely have evolved more and probably received more awakenings, such as the one where his cursed techniques returned to him. Undoubtedly, Gojo would have grown even stronger. It must also be remembered that Gojo was not too old in the story. At the time of his death, Gojo was still only 28, which means that he still had a lot of room to grow further. Gojo and Sukuna were quite close to each other in terms of power level. It is safe to say that they were equally matched, even though Gojo lost to Sukuna. This is simply because when Gojo lost to the King of Curses, he was utilizing the body of Megumi. As such, the King of Curses essentially had access to two cursed techniques instead of one. Both of these cursed techniques were strong enough to match Gojo's own by themselves, but when put together, they were able to overpower his abilities. As such, Gojo was already on the level of Sukuna when they fought and could potentially have gone on to win the battle as well. Had Gojo lived longer, he could possibly have brushed up upon various aspects of cursed technique, such as control, and at the same time, improved upon some other applications, and possibly pulled ahead of Sukuna. It must be remembered that Gojo, despite claiming himself to be the finished product, could always have improved even further, and the possibility of him surpassing even Sukuna and becoming the greatest of all time exists. Unfortunately, Gojo ended up dying in JJK, and his death left fans utterly shocked. While some fans did have hope for Gojo returning later down the line through some resurrection, it ended up not coming true for various reasons. The biggest reason of all was simply that the author had already thought of this plotline for him long ago, and the fact that JJK was nearing its conclusion. With the series having officially wrapped up, the chances for Gojo to return to life are close to none. Gojo was a phenomenal character, and even though he could have grown even stronger, fans know him to be a symbol of strength, love, care, and courage, above all. He is an iconic character who will go on to be remembered for ages, and one that redefined what being a popular character meant.